What up? What up? Welcome into the very first episode of Motor City Realists, new podcast by yours truly, Zach Mack, and my co-host, Big Boss Man, Mike Brown. Mike, how you doing today?
Good. I'm glad we finally got it off the ground. You know, we're always a few minutes late. Every episode we do this, we feel like we're beginners. So,
yeah, man. If there weren't technical difficulties, I'd probably have a higher paying job.
Yeah, there you go.
We're gonna do we're gonna do some recapping of week one, do some reactions. It's typically the what do they call it? The overreaction week. So
overreaction Tuesday is what we're at. I guess not Monday.
Yeah.
So
we're gonna try not to do that. We're gonna try and stay as realistic as possible. But you wanna get right into it. Oh, by the way, I want to let you know I was for those listening, I was sick the past couple of days. So if I'm coughing into this microphone a couple times here and there, that's why. But we're on the upswing, so that's good.
There you go. But no, I'm excited. Basically, just a quick rundown. I figured a quick rundown of for those people just tuning in and seeing what we're doing here. Zach and I have always been working together for probably past 3 or 3 years. He's had his own show. I had my own show. Then we kind of came together, and everything we did, it always was sports. But then it always came full circle to Detroit sports. Zach is actually from Michigan. I'm from Ohio, but was the Toledo area. So I always in Michigan. I grew up as forgive me, I'll say this right now. I grew up as an Ohio State college fan, but all professional sports are Detroit. That's just how I grew up. 38 years old. I'm not going to sit here. The whole point of the show is Zach and I were called Jeez, oh, Pete, I haven't even started drinking.
What do we call
City Realists, MCR. So basically, we're just going to give you a fan's perspective. We're not going to break down the tapes. We're not going to tell you. We're not professionals. Like I said, I'm 38 years old. I know there's a lot of people that have gone through a lot worse, but we want to break down this game one. We're going to talk about, as the Wings get going, as the Pistons get going. We're just going to cover a little bit of everything. But obviously, we're all in right now, week one. But before I get to that, I don't want to cut you off. Zach, give a little background. I know I just said you're from Michigan, but give a little story here about you.
No, yeah, like you said, we I think we've actually been working together for, I think it's been over 4 years now.
Yeah.
For any listeners who know, we had What's Up Belly Up for a couple years, and like Mike mentioned, I was heavy into the hockey podcasts back in the day. But like you said, it didn't matter what show we were on. We always, if it was 5 minutes at the end or if it was 25 minutes at the end, we were talking about Detroit sports and what they were up to and what they had going on. So, this show was kind of just like it's kind of a fate type thing. We might as well just get rolling with a show where we BS and we talk about Detroit sports the whole time because obviously subconsciously that's what we wanted to do the whole time. So, hopefully we're just giving a realistic point of view for Detroit fans. And if we're throwing out ages, I'm 28 and Mike is right. I am from Michigan. I live now here down in Florida.
But to get right into it, I'm going to preface this by saying 100%. I did not watch Hard Knocks. It hurt me not to watch it. I will watch it. But
you didn't watch any of it?
I didn't. My brother-in-law was like, "How did you watch this? You got to say." And the reason I didn't is because everyone talks about the Kool-Aid, drinking that Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
It would hurt that much worse watching Hard Knocks being pumped up and just being set up for failure. True Lions fan. We've been through it. I get it. But I just didn't. I'll eventually watch it. But I guess I won't really touch a whole lot on Hard Knocks. You said you watched. Did you end up finishing it all?
No, I didn't finish it. I watched the first 3 episodes. I think there's been 2 since, so I got to catch up on
finish it up. But yeah, that's and some people are like, oh yeah, you're going to call yourself a Motor City Realist and didn't watch this. No, I'm being dead serious that's why I didn't, because I didn't want to get so far. Literally one of the first tweets, we just created this account. We got it up and rolling. This is our first show. Literally the first tweet I said is, something about don't drink the Kool-Aid,
Yeah, you've been saying that quite a bit.
and people just jumped me. People were unfollowing us, and I'm like, you gotta be kidding me, man. Let's field a team first, So
yeah.
So I got some flack for that, and we've got that's one thing that we're gonna do. We're gonna do this weekly. We're gonna do it every Tuesday, 8:30 Eastern. And so we're gonna have different segments, and one segment that I want to add to the table tonight, it'll be a little later, is we're gonna scroll through Twitter. We're gonna scroll through social media. And we're gonna find some outlandish tweets, Facebook posts, just kind of like those Lion fans that you just can't, you just kind of shake your head at. But because neither of us really dove too far in Hard Knocks, we'll skip that section. Everybody that watched it, it was great. I heard it was everybody loved it. I'll eventually watch it, but I just didn't want to fall flat on my face. We'll get right into week one. We watched that. Zach, I don't know what if you were able to get it being in Tampa. I had to scramble to find it because it's funny. I'm here just north of Lima, so I get like all the Indianapolis channels, and I can't get any Lions. So I ended up having to go up to a local bar. But overall, my expectations going into the game, a lot of hype around it. Hard Knocks added a lot of hype. A lot of people jumping on, really liked what was going on. A lot of people like Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell, very unorthodox. Gotta love him. I'm not going to lie, I was a huge Patricia guy when he got hired. Then quickly, I fell on my face and realized this was not good. This is exactly what you need. People want to play. Tracy Walker came out and said he could have went on and essentially been one of the highest paid safeties, but he wanted to be here. He wanted to be a part of this organization, what they're doing. We'll talk a little bit about Tracy Walker. But expectations going into week one, the Eagles, what you knew about the Eagles, and kind of after the game, just overall general scope of thing before we really break it down.
Yeah, so I went in with I put this on Twitter. I went in with no expectations, kind of because of the whole Hard Knocks thing. There's going to be that people are hyped up about it. And always with Hard Knocks, you've got non-Detroit fans. And this is with any year with Hard Knocks. People who aren't fans of whoever's on Hard Knocks, thinking they're going to come out the gate, busting heads, and so I was very wary of that. And but I said it's better than in the past going in and just straight up expecting a loss, and
Absolutely.
expecting to get your ass beat. So that was better. And I did to answer your question, I did have to go to a bar to watch it. I think that's gonna have to be the case for me the whole year, unless they're on primetime, which they're not.
No games. No games. But yeah, I think overall, I think that my expectation. I'm sorry if you guys see a glare. I'm just reading off the iPad, checking out. I had the stats and everything was up. But the expectations, okay, going into the season, Philly had a great offseason. They are, I wouldn't say they're a Super Bowl contending team, but they are definitely a playoff team. I think they can go deep. That showed. I'm not going to say the same old lines because a lot of things were true that we did a lot better. But overall, I was really happy. There were some bonehead moves.
It's a tough week one. That's a tough week one opponent. The Eagles aren't like a few years back, you would have been like, oh, Eagles, wonderful. Yeah, we get to play the Eagles week one. That's just not the case right now. Like you said, they're not a Super Bowl team, but that's not an easy matchup for a team coming off a 3-13 season.
Yeah. And like, with that, like the way that week one went for majority of teams, it couldn't have been any more Lions like. Even though, I don't want to use that term because so many people are like, oh, same old Lions. I say that. But really, I was really pleased with a lot of different aspects of the game. Basically, this has been the Achilles heel of the team for the past couple of years has been the linebacker play. Malcolm Rodriguez, talk about a guy that Hard Knocks, made everybody love. He played great. He hip checked Jason Kelsey, won a Pro Bowl center, a lineman there. Had a few tackles, but overall, I think they played better. There were a lot of ups and downs. People were blaming a lot of things on Goff, but I did see a lot of good things from Goff. Most of the time, when I did see the bad things with Goff, the line broke down. There was a lot of pressure, but Goff, we still can't. People don't realize how good we had it when Stafford was here, but we never really, we just kind of took it for granted. Now we got Goff. Goff is a guy that's going to be here. He's here to stay. He's not going anywhere. You can't just unload that contract. People, I saw on Twitter today, people were saying, oh, if Jerry Jones came to you for reaching out for Goff to trade because of Dak being down right now, what would you have to get? And someone's like a first round pick. I said, there ain't no way in hell someone's going to give you a first round pick for him and take up that contract. But overall, I didn't think he was horrible. Very up and downs. Our offensive line up and down. Again, we're starting the season with a kind of a plug and play offensive line. A lot of injuries there. The defense did what the defense did. Our rookies. One thing that really drives me nuts is Aiden Hutchinson was in the backfield, putting a lot of pressure on. He didn't get a sack, but there's a lot of people saying, "Oh, he didn't really show up in the box." That's the difference between what I want to do with this show and other shows is, we're not slappies by any means, but I think we have a pretty good understanding of the way that the game's played. That not necessarily what shows up in the box score is always is always the tall tale tape, I guess, essentially. So people were saying, oh, he's going to be a bust, and I get it. Those are some crazy things, but overall, was there anybody that really stood out to you that maybe you really thought sucked that really did well that you didn't expect? Were you able to, with it being at the bar, were you able to hear it or really tune into it, or was it just kind of here and there?
Yeah, so I couldn't hear it. I was at Buffalo Wild Wings, so they got Sunday ticket, right? They're playing every game.
Yep.
And obviously, they stick the lines on the corner television in the back. So, I'm squinting. But no, I mean, I obviously I like the way DeAndre Swift played, obviously. Mm-hmm. And especially seeing, I know you didn't watch Hard Knocks, but the first couple episodes where Deuce Staley is, he's in there and he's saying, hey, I think DeAndre Swift has, he can make that next jump. He can get to that next level. He's got the elite talent. So to see him go out there and play the way he did, I thought was it was impressive, and it leaves room for optimism, I think, in the run game. And you talk about, being a Lions fan and wanting a run game, like we've wanted that for decades, so that's exciting.
It's funny because I was going up to the bar after realizing I couldn't get it at home. I was going up to the bar. And so I got to the bar and I was watching the game and he kept breaking off a few runs here and there. And then I saw, Williams was kind of eating up those goal line carries, getting those cheap touchdowns. And then all of a sudden they flashed it. He had 144 yards. I'm like, what did I just miss? Grant, I missed that 50-yard run he had, but overall, yes, that's great. I love Staley saying, basically this goes back to the beginning of Hard Knocks when Staley said, there's a difference between, DeAndre was banged up last year. He missed some games with a shoulder injury. It was pretty significant, but it was also to the point where Staley said, there's a difference between being hurt and being injured. You got to play through that pain. You got to really do. And then I think Swift really bought into that. And then Staley said, we could really have Swift be 1,000 back, 1,000 receiving yards, 1,000 rushing yards. And that's really exciting. You go back to the job at best days, you kind of had those expectations as long as he could stay healthy. Well, we saw that wasn't true. One concussion, the guy got his, granted he had a lot in college, but he got his marbles rocked. But overall, yeah, that's a great, obviously I think that's probably one of the big takeaways. I think Okudah played well for his first game back. He wasn't a horrible grade. I think he was like the fifth highest defensive grade. And then I also think DJ Chark played good. And granted he caught a touchdown, but maybe that's why it stood out on the box score. Again, I'm talking about the box score, saying, but I think he played well overall. I think once we finally got things going, the offense moving, we looked pretty decent. I feel like for the past couple of years, we've always done this. We've always got down big and going in halftime. And you're like, there's no way in hell. And then all of a sudden we're talking in the fourth quarter and it's like, oh man, this is a game again.
Yeah.
That's the Lions thing. But I think it's not the same old Lions. I think this was Philadelphia. I didn't expect to win this game, but to lose it by 3, I'm okay with. And especially put up 35 points. Granted, right. Jalen Hurts didn't throw any touchdown passes. He had a rushing touchdown. And actually they scored all the rushing touchdowns. I think 5 different people scored rushing touchdowns.
Really?
But Jalen Hurts threw 32 times for 243 yards. He was sacked 1 time. He had a big pass to AJ Brown early on. I think that was over 50 yards or somewhere around there. So he got a lot of chunk yardage. But one thing, and this is gonna, I don't want to label myself, and I don't want to try to injure a player. I don't want to be that guy that says, "Oh, this is what we have to do." But the Tracy Walker hit late in the game, that when he got ejected. Yes, that was definitely pretty blatant, But I think in a situation where we are, and again, I am not defending this play, but I think in a situation where we're a team that we've always been the laughing stock, you have to take those hits on quarterbacks. And I know there's a fine line. You don't want to injure somebody, but you have to make that quarterback think about running again, because he was killing us on the runs. He wasn't doing much other than rolling outside the pocket that contained. So, and again, I don't want to toe that line for people to say, "Oh yeah, you're just," no, that's not it. I don't want to see anybody get injured, especially the opposing team. But you gotta hit somebody so they remember that, so they're not going to do that again. And you know what? From that point on, I was like, oh, that kind of lit a fire from everybody, because that kind of turned things around. Tracy Walker got ejected, which I think he led the game 12 tackles or something like that.
Yeah, he had 11 tackles in the first half.
11 or 12 or something like that. But either way, he played great. But Goff was 21 for 37, 215. He had 2 touchdowns. That interception was bad. It was tipped, but it was tipped by the defender. So
there was a couple plays that stood out to me that I didn't like. You briefly just mentioned both of them. The first one is the interception. One, because it gets returned for a touchdown, and if that doesn't get returned for a touchdown, who knows what happens. Maybe we force a turnover, or maybe they kick a field goal instead, and then all of a sudden we don't lose by 3. So it being returned for a touchdown was big, because I think it was only like a 27-yard return. So you got to take care of the ball right there. And it was not a good pass. But I do want to defend Goff, because he started out very bad in this game. There was one point I think he was like 3 for 7 with 6 yards.
Yeah, and it was like Baker Mayfield stat.
Yeah, but also, like, he's not Mahomes. He's not going to come out and guns ablaze in week 1 of a football season. So the fact that he warmed up by the end of the game and put together some decent numbers and threw a couple pass touchdowns, I thought was nice to see. I didn't care. The other play I didn't like. I didn't care for the whole Tracy Walker thing. I understand what you're saying about you got to lay those licks on those quarterbacks, especially if they like to run. I think some Eagles fans might roast you for your take.
Oh yeah, I would even expect Lions fans too, because actually, to tell you the truth, I was just pulling this up. Hurts rushed 17 times for almost 100 yards. I'm not saying, again, I'm not defending it, and especially that was very blatant. But I mean, before I even got to the game, Twitter was saying that there were some pretty close out of bounds hits on Hurts where the Eagles were kind of calling for it. So it kind of seemed like it was coming. Maybe they took it too far. But again, I'm not defending it by any means.
Yeah, and really he compounded it by getting into the skirmish afterwards and throwing his hit, whatever you want to call it, a slap punch.
That's why. Yeah, that's the reason he got ejected.
Yeah, and then the very next play, his backup gets burned for 22 yards down to the goal line, and so that's another thing. Like, those two things, if we don't get that interception returned for a touchdown, and if Tracy Walker doesn't get ejected, maybe we don't give up that 22-yard play on the very next play. So those are the two plays that stuck out to me that I didn't care for.
It's funny you bring that up, because that's one thing I would like to do as we grow. Obviously, right now there's probably not a lot of people in the comments and stuff like that. But as we grow, I want to know who are your Lions that you just wonder why they're on the roster, and what they do. Mine for the past 2 years has been Will Harris. You talk about Tracy Walker's backup. He got roasted. They moved him to cornerback. They've moved him all around. There's nothing about him. He's a safety out of Boston College. He's not that quick. His hips don't open up real fast, and he always seems to get blown out of the water. I just think he was probably one of the only healthy people last year, so he pretty much played every position all the time. He's one of those guys to me that he's not horrible, but I feel like, man, there's got to be rookies that are better than him on the roster. Maybe he just knows the defense a little better. But as we go on week to week, I would love to know you guys as players that, why are they on the roster? What are they doing, or different things. But again, this is kind of telling, Tracy Walker ended up, like I said, 13 tackles. Okuda had 10. Anzalone had 9. So, and then Harris had 7. So you're talking about your linebackers and your safeties, cornerbacks are the ones that are having your most of your tackles here, and obviously overall they rushed for 39 times, and in between Miles Sanders and Jalen Hurts, they had 20, they had 20 of those rushes, 30 of those rushes. So
that's another thing. Like with Jalen Hurts using his legs so much, you talked about people getting on Hutchinson's case about not showing up in the box score, but that, Hurts has that escapability. So,
Oh yeah.
If Hutchinson would have been able to get a sack in this game, he would have been light years ahead of, I think, where a rookie in his very first game going against a mobile quarterback should be. So,
Yeah, it's funny because not to cut you off, but like if this were a fantasy show, I am all in on the Jalen Hurts fantasy train right now. Like I love the guy. Love what he's going to do. I love that offense. So that's why, to me, this was a great test going into the week one. In only losing by 3, I walk away with that as a win, a moral victory. We're Detroit, we want to get away from that, but that's kind of where it was. But overall, like really, really, I kind of felt that was okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and it really felt like, I don't know if you got this feeling watching the game, but I felt like, especially early on, that A.J. Brown was just like destroying our team single-handedly. And I was
What's
like,
funny is I don't know if you saw this, I should have tweeted. There was a tweet, and it was really random. It was like the first 49 games of the season. He was compared to Megatron, his first 49 games of the season, and I think he has 20 more receptions, and he's got like 500 more yards compared to him on the first 49 games or something like that. It was a really crazy comparison based off of,
he's a beast,
where it was at. So, but overall, the game was great. I feel like there was a lot to take away from it. Excited about going to the second week. 0-1, that's fine. The Eagles are 1-0. That's fine. It's not like we're going to see them in the Super Bowl or anything like that. But overall, I mean, is there anything as far as outside of the game? You touched on Goff, you touched on DeAndre. Our receiving core, was there? I mean, I guess it took Goff a little while to get going, but I mean, we've got what, Minnesota this upcoming week? Is that the 25th?
No,
is that where we're at? Or no, Washington. Sorry, Washington.
Yeah.
I gave myself. So Washington, they're 1-0. They again, like so many teams, they kind of surprised me. I don't want to touch too much on their roster or anything like that. But what were your looking forward? Obviously, we're still going to talk about the game a little more, but looking forward, what are your expectations for week 2?
There's a couple things that I want to see for the second week. They're at home again, right? So not a whole lot of travel. You got plenty of time to prepare. There was a couple times early in the game last Sunday against the Eagles where Goff threw, like it was a very clear miscommunication between him and the receiver. I think one time it happened to Hawkinson, another time it happened to St. Brown, at least that I can think of. And he just, like, the route didn't go where Goff threw it to. So obviously Goff thought he was going to cut one way, the receiver cut the other way. And again, it's week 1 and he's Jared Goff, right? He's not Patrick Mahomes. He's not, and he's not Tom Brady. He's so that kind of stuff we can kind of understand, but for it to happen again next week, you start to get worried. So I would like to see Goff clean some of that stuff up, and I would like to see us. I hope we stick to the run game because I think the Jags ran. It was barely anything. It was like 18 times maybe on the Commanders, and the Commanders let up like 100. I want to say like just under 130 yards or something like that. So if Swift gets his same workload, 18 to 22 carries maybe, I hope we can just run all over that team.
So as far as like I said, Commanders are up next. Wentz actually threw 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. But you talk on Hawkinson, and I'm not saying by any means he was a letdown week 1, but I feel like he just kind of disappeared, and there was really nothing from him. There was actually one point in the game where he was on the sidelines, and they showed it briefly, but they didn't show who it was. It looked like he was really going at somebody, like chewing him on the sidelines, like one of our players. I didn't see who it was, but I felt like in a situation like that, he's always been kind of the safety blanket. He's supposedly healthy this year. I would hope and like to see a big bounce back game next week for him. Him kind of playing between the hash, really opened things up for the outside. St. Brown played well towards the end of the game. He had that touchdown. But overall, we didn't even see Cephas. I feel like I'm not going to say by any means our wide receiver core is deep, but it's funny to believe in a year how far we have come, because now we're not. I think I saw the Jaguars actually had the they were labeled the worst receiving core. And I saw obviously Marvin Jones is over there right now. They were labeled by one of the talking heads. I don't know what it was, but overall, I'm really looking forward to that. I'm hoping to see Hockenson improve. Again,
it's interesting you say that if he was laying into somebody or was talking to somebody, because I saw some things or some people saying that Hockenson looked like visually frustrated with Goff at times, and I didn't notice that. But it just now I'm very curious. I'm gonna go back and look at it. Like if Hockenson is already frustrated into week 1, that's not a good sign,
Yeah, I mean, obviously, a lot of football, no big deal. But overall, like I said, looking forward to that next game. I think Swift can really build on it. I think Goff has a good game, Hockenson as well. I think our defense has an opportunity to really button things up. I'm really hoping that we'll shore up that offensive line, get some consistency there. We didn't really talk about our defensive line. I felt like pretty much every no name on that line. I shouldn't say no name because Austin Bryant actually had a pretty good game, and it's good to see because he's been with us for a while and he's kind of really underachieved. But I feel like most of the pressures came from either rookies or people that aren't like the big names. On the and actually to tell you the truth, I didn't realize if Brockers played or not. To tell you the truth, I didn't pay attention. Our defensive end play was really not much of anything. But like I said, going into that next game, really looking forward to it. I think we'll be able to open it up. Commanders are not a bad team by any means, especially when we're comparing ourselves to what we did with the Eagles. But I don't want to get too caught up in that last game. I don't want to say, oh yeah, pat on the back. We competed with the Eagles. Now on to Washington, we should just blow them out of the water because that's not the case. But I would expect to win. I know ESPN has us the underdog, like I think it's like 56, 44%, something like that breakdown on the little pie chart.
All I'm saying is we better not allow 38 points to the Commanders.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like I said, Wentz had 4 touchdown passes, so we'll see. But overall, yes, it should definitely be different. But not everything that we are going to do revolves around the Lions. Obviously, that's in season right now. But I do want to give Zach a little, kind of like set the table here. I always go to Zach for my Red Wings news, kind of things to look forward to. Obviously, gotta love Stevie Y. I know I'm kind of putting you on a spot because we didn't put it in the notes, but this is your baby. What's your expectation? I'm not saying wins and losses, but are you excited about the Wings this year? Do you think they can maybe put a playoff caliber team, or they can be competitive this year?
I'm excited. I think they're going to be. They were already kind of fun to watch last year. I think they're going to be even more fun to watch this year. I think they have a chance to, get a playoff spot. They're in a tough division, which makes it hard for them right now. But with the signings that Stevie got, we get Andrew Kopp, and for those Michigan fans out there, he played for the Wolverines. He's a Michigan boy, so that's a fun signing for a lot of people I know. You get David Perron from the Blues, who I think when I was on Corner Booth, shout out Corner Booth. When I was on there, I think at the end of last hockey season, I put David Perron on my dartboard because he was such an asshole in the playoffs. But now he's a Red Wing, so of course I'm gonna love him. Yes. But it's gonna be a fun season to watch. I think they're gonna compete a lot more than they did last year. They're not gonna get blown out 6-1 or 7-1 as much as they did last year. Whether or not they can make a playoff push, though, that it's gonna be can they stay healthy, and can other teams in their division stay healthy? Because I mean, the Bolts are good, the Panthers are good, Boston's good.
So I guess my thing. Okay, so this is what the consensus for me, being a loose hockey. I shouldn't say loose hockey fan. Well, I loose hockey fan overall. I'm a Wiggins fan. Know the roster, but I feel like just like anything in the social media landscape, are people torn on Larkin? Are they torn on him being like forever there, or if he's not? Like, I know people would say maybe last season was an off year, maybe that's what it was, maybe he was. I mean, are people torn on him, or am I just kind of seeing things and kind of overthinking it?
I think there is that feeling where people are like, is because he's a captain, first of all, right?
Yeah.
So It's tough because he's not like he hasn't solidified himself as like a star, like superstar player. He's a great player. Don't get me wrong, and probably the best all around player that the Red Wings have. But when you've got Stevie Y and you're trying to attract talent through free agents or whatnot, it's tough because you've got this young guy who's a leader, who's still really not like, he's not Austin Matthews. He's not even, Brad Marchand, anything like that. So, but at the same time, I think I don't think you're wrong in that feeling that you get where people are kind of wishy-washy about him. I think people are more, they're not so pessimistic about it, but they're more, like, is this really the guy that can carry us to a cup or not?
And then obviously we got a lot of young talent. I think we're finally getting to that point where I wouldn't say by any means we're loaded, but I think we definitely got some young bucks here, 20, 21, 22, 23 years old. Raymond obviously, and
Sider picked up rookie of the year. They did the top 50 players in the NHL. They put him at 49 already.
So, there's tons to be excited about. I don't want to sit here and be one of those guys because we're also talking, we've got the Detroit Tigers right now that actually, tell you the truth, that is one. You want to talk about being excited about the Lions be back on TV. I remember the Maglio Ordonez days, when we were at the playoffs, obviously, Verlander, obviously totally different thing. Dabrowski days, totally different thing. We paid for that afterwards. We're still paying for that right now, but I know I talk loosely about hockey, baseball loosely to you because, that's not the one that you definitely follow the most. But I mean, I think this goes back to What's Up Belly Up this past, I think we were talking about the beginning of the season. Have you watched a baseball game this year, a Tigers game this year?
No, I haven't. I haven't watched an MLB game. I follow the Tigers on Twitter, so I see them get shut out. Like I think they got shut out 21 times now, or whatever.
So again, and we haven't even talked about the Pistons. I love what they're doing there. I feel like across the board, we've got tons of young talent across the board in all of our teams.
Let me ask you this: Do you think this is because I think this could be some responsibility for the Lions that you talked about, the Maglio Ordonez days, Miggy in his prime. And that's back when, the Red Wings were making cup runs and the Tigers, we just said Tigers, but obviously the Lions have never been good. Yeah. But my point being, if the Lions in the situation that they're in, because there's so much optimism around the Lions right now, if they can, put together a good season, so above 500, maybe we're fighting for a wild card spot. Do you think that kind of thing is infectious in a city as across other sports?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I felt like for a while, Detroit sports teams, every 2 years, each team was competitive. We had the Pistons. Well, we had the Wings. We had the Pistons. We had we had the Wings. We had the Tigers, then the Pistons. The Pistons had some success for a little bit. Detroit really has. I remember being at the Pontiac Silverdome when the Lions played in the playoffs, I believe against the Jaguars. That's when Barry was still there. My dad and I actually just randomly stayed in the hotel of all the players. And I rode the elevator down with Barry Sanders. And I'm just like this little kid, like, this is my idol, like Barry's like the prime, we didn't know it was, it wasn't like Barry was checking out, like getting out of here. And I just asked the dude for an interview autograph. And the dude just like didn't even look at me. Just walked off. And I knew the dude was, he was quiet, but I was like, are you kidding me? But I got I met Herman Moore, I met Lomas Brown, so many players. And from that point on, and I've always been a Lions fan, but from that point on, I was like, this is really cool. But not to, get away from your question. But yeah, I think that's definitely infectious, especially again, like I said, with all this young talent, there's these young guys that really, like I said, Tracy Walker, he could have gone somewhere. He could have got paid, but he wanted to buy into the city. People appreciate what they're doing. Dan Campbell, yes, he's raw. People complain about his maybe his coaching, his time management, because I've seen that too. But he's been in the league. He's respected by the team. That's one thing that, based off the last regime, they completely destroyed that. They completely Stafford. never says anything. He would never say anything bad, but like it was just kind of one of those things. And now, I'm going to tell you, I am one of those Lions fans that I will take that Stafford, the LA Rams trophy, that Super Bowl trophy, and I'll put that on my mantle and I'll just claim it, whatever. And especially now that he's doing these Little Caesars commercials and all that kind of
he's
stuff,
everywhere on
like,
TV.
Like I love it, good for him. He's getting his dues. And I don't know, not to kind of go all over here, but do you follow or have you seen Richard Sherman and Dan Orlovsky on Twitter going back and forth? Richard Sherman is so anti don't ever speak Matt Stafford Hall of Fame. They don't go together.
I've seen that. Yeah.
And obviously Dan is his buddy is a huge, proponent of a backer, and they just like were going at it. And it's got to the point where like Sherman's just like a mad dude, like just like, and Orlovsky's just like, whatever, Orlovsky just kind of blew up. But it's kind of cool. I'd love to see it here again. We definitely took those years for granted. We talk about the Megatron, what they were able to do all the way back to Roy Williams and all that stuff. Like Stafford was the man. We took that for granted. Now we're not in a bad situation by any means. People got to realize that Goff is here to stay, at least for the time of his contract. So they are putting weapons around him. So yes, that this team can win. They can set the table. Like you said, I definitely don't. I mean, it would be a long shot to make the playoffs, but this is what I didn't put. You're talking. Well, we got 17 game season now. What is your I meant to ask you this. What is your outlook on this year? What do you think the Lions are going to end up with a 17 game season?
Oh gosh, I looked at when the schedule came out too. I did this. I went down. I was like, loss, win, whatever, and I want to say I came out 9-8, I think. Maybe 10-7, but I feel like 9-8 is what I came out.
9-8, I think, would be a successful year. I think a lot of people in the Lions Twitter sphere universe would be very disappointed on that, but I think that's a huge building block. Like I said, we have great momentum on the Philly game. Yes, it's a loss, but this kind of opens things up to also being in this, this realm of Detroit sports and seeing these personalities, these people, Woodward Sports, all these big companies that are really doing well. I really love the stuff that they come out with, these different companies. But then there's these companies that are just, or these Twitters that are these, I shouldn't say Twitter. I live on Twitter is essentially what it is, but they're just horrible. Like, I mean, I don't know why people follow these accounts. Literally one season in, they want to mail it in. I feel like Detroit sports are so torn. We're either the same old BS or you're going to drink the Kool-Aid until you die, where we're kind of that middle realm. We're just kind of get both sides. So Zach, I don't know if you have it queued up right here. I got to name this segment, but we're gonna scroll through. So Lions fan report. I think they got like 15,000 followers. This was like right during the game. The game wasn't over yet. The worst part about this game is the team looks exactly the same as last year. I don't want to hear anything. They played hard though. That's BS. This is exactly the fan base that drives me nuts. You've got a following, 15,000 followers. You're supposed to be pro Lions. Yes, you can tear you can break them down and stuff like that. But people follow this kind of stuff. You know what? And are they going to get wind of this? Probably not. We're too small. They don't care, whatever. But this kind of stuff just is like, you know what? So I am going to scour the internet each week, Zach and I, and we're going to find these kind of tweets, these Facebook posts, and we're going to put you out there because, like, this is the kind of stuff, like, really after a playoff caliber team, you're going to put that out there. So whatever.
It's funny. Like you said, this was – look at 3:33, right? So it's like halfway through the game.
The game wasn't even over. Yeah,
halfway through the game, and it's the worst part about this game is that this team looks the exact same as last year. Halfway through the first game of the year, like we got 34 halves to play, and you're gonna pick the very first one to pass judgment on whether this team looks like last year. That is crazy to me. You said that to me, I laughed, and it's funny because I've actually had discussions with my brother about this, and he thinks like, the culture around Lions fans, and you just alluded to this, the culture around Lions fans needs to change. Like, because like that kind of reciprocation, like team, it's kind of like the, you know, I don't know. I don't want to get all spiritual on everyone, but like, you know, you fit into the universe and the universe responds to you type of thing. Right. And it's like the fans respond to you, you vibe off the fans. And like you said, when you've got an account with 15,000 followers and you're tweeting this kind of stuff.
And those are loyal. I'm sure they're Detroit fans, you know, majority of them. Like,
yeah.
But I did see they were. I didn't show the replies because there were some people pretty much eating them up. But
I saw that. Yeah.
But overall, you know, as we continue to grow some followers and stuff like that, you know, we want to have a fun account. We want to, you know, go back and forth with you guys. If you guys find stuff like that, send it to us. You know, slide into our DM, send that to us. You know, tag us on Twitter. That's kind of, like I said, that's kind of our bread and butter. We're going to build our Twitter there. We're always going to be live here on Twitter on our account, and we're also live on the YouTube channel on actually Belly Up Sports YouTube channel. So that's kind of nice. So as we continue on the YouTube channel, you guys can jump in, add us comments. You know, we'll throw them up on the screen. I know Twitter doesn't allow you to add comments and stuff like that, but overall, really excited. Zach and I finally just said, you know, let's just do a Detroit show. That's what we always go into. You know, there's tons of Detroit shows. We're not trying to reciprocate that. We're not trying to do the same thing over and over. We're just trying to kind of be that middle ground. You know, if there's certain things, you know, we'll have fun. We'll put you on blast, but we don't take it too serious. We're not big analytics guy. We just really love the sport overall. And, you know, as we pick up steam, we want, you know, the interaction from you guys to really jump in our comments and stuff. So you know, set the dates, every Tuesday, 8:30 Eastern time, we're going to be on. But, you know, Zach, before we kind of get out of here, is there anything that you want to touch on? You know, we can always touch on, you know, just a general segment sporting, anything that you would touch on. We always did like a roundtable at the old show, but is there anything you want to touch on, or are we just going to look forward to next week?
No, yeah. There's the one thing I want to highlight that I don't think I talked about in this show was you mentioned Chark, DJ Chark getting on the board, and I don't know if you saw the play, but it was actually a great pass by Jared Goff.
I said that great. He dimed that thing in there on Darius Slay.
Yeah, that was the best part about it, was that it was on Darius Slay. Chark made a great catch, brought us within 3 with 5 to go. I thought that was a great play. Loved that. At least for some momentum and some optimism going into next week. I want to hear your prediction for next week. I'm going to take Lions in a 24-19 win.
Ooh, I was going to say 27-17. I'll take the Lions.
Okay.
I think I don't want to say that the offense opens it up by any means, because obviously we score some points, but I want to see the defense have a few more big stops. We had some big stops in the Philly game, but consistent. And just, you know, like I said, I think Hockenson gets on track and we see a little more ball movement through the receivers.
Just need some things tightened up. But, you know, that's always the case after week 1 of season. So if things don't get tightened up, we're going to worry. We're going to be back here, right here next week, and we're going to be worrying about the Lions. But hopefully that's not the case, and we'll see how many times the Tigers get shut out between now and next episode.
Yeah, that's one thing. I'm hoping we don't have more losses than the Tigers. So that would be sad. But I shouldn't say we, because we're all in this together. But anyway, Zach, I appreciate it. You brought us in. I'll take us out tonight. You know, we kind of go with the flow, but looking forward to everyone jumping in next week. Like I said, jump in on Twitter next week. Give us some comments. If you see anything, tag us on Twitter, slide into our DMs, anything like that. But we appreciate you guys joining for the first episode. Oh yeah, you guys?
Yeah, just one question, because I for the viewers / listeners, but I don't even know you there. Is this going to be released as a podcast as well?
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, okay. We will get that posted. Obviously, it'll probably be a day or two late once we get the editing, but that's why we like to do the live stream for the initial reaction. Then we'll get it all on iTunes and all that stuff. So we'll be one of those wannabe Detroit shows that you guys can go give us good thumbs ups and stuff like that. So
cool. Yeah. So check it out. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your.
Yep. We'll get it all posted up. But Zach, I will see you next week. Looking forward to it. We'll break down game 2, have a little more on maybe the rest of the sports in Detroit, because I'm looking forward to the Pistons as well. But overall, looking forward to next week. So we'll see you guys all 8:30 Eastern Tuesday nights.
Can't wait. Let's get to 500.